How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at the XY capsules that comes with the Zoom H5. Now I did make this video yesterday, but when I looked back after it was uploaded a few hours later, it didn't really come out right. So I'm going to do it again, and the main reason is the preamps inside the Zoom, the digital to analog converter that you use to monitor your headphones with in the Zoom H5, they're not really good, and it makes the mic capsule and pretty much every other microphone sound a bit different to what they actually sound like. So I'm gonna do this again, and this time I've taken down some notes, and we'll talk about that. Move the microphone up a bit closer. So first off, this is an XY capsule that comes with the Zoom H5. I'll actually take this off so you can, because the Zoom H5 is recording. I didn't really know that the recorder actually stopped recording audio when you take out this capsule. So this is the XYH-5, and this is the one that comes with the Zoom H5 if you buy one. So first off, let's take a close look at it. So as you can see, it's got two XLR microphones at the top, and it's got the gain dial in front, and they're all shock mounted as well over here. So if you can see that, they actually move a bit. And these shock mounts over here are meant to just kind of reduce the handling noises. Now unfortunately they don't really work really well, or even though they do, they don't really do much. You can still hear the handling noises and stuff, but it's nice to have that even if they don't work, or they do, even if it does work or if it doesn't, because it looks nice in my opinion. The second thing is that they don't rotate to 120 degrees. These are just 90 degrees capsules, so you can't adjust them, you can't rotate them or anything. They're just the way they are. Now on the right side you do have the line in, so you can use microphones and lav mics and stuff like that. And so the Zoom H5 doesn't really have this input on the body itself. You have to use it with this line in over here. Now the gain dial is from 1 to 10, just like the every other gain dial on the Zoom H5 or the H6. And in this one, because it's made for the Zoom H5, just like the Zoom H5 has a metal bar over the dials, this one has one. So you can put this in your pocket, and I have tried it and it doesn't really mess about with the dial. So it's really good that they have this metal bar to protect that. Talking about specifications, this mic capsule has a sound pressure level of minus 120 decibels. Now compared to the Zoom H4n Pro's mic capsule, that well, the microphones that are built into that body system, you can't really take them out. They are 140 decibels, and this is 120. So it's a bit less, but basically that means they're not going to distort with the loud sources. So you can go to a concert and record that, and these should work really well for that. And also I want to talk about another thing before we get into the audio test. And these microphones are not good with plosives. They're really sensitive to wind noise and everything that moves. And so Zoom does, if you buy the Zoom H5, it does come with this windshield thing, and you can kind of put them in there. And I do recommend you actually using this. Now I'm not a fan of having to use windshields and stuff, but in this case I do recommend, if you're gonna go outside and record stuff, get this, keep this windshield with you. So that's it for this. Let's go ahead and jump on to the audio tests. Okay, so this is going to be raw audio, so I'm not going to edit it at all. So the dynamic range and everything is going to come into play here. Normally I don't really mess around with dynamic range, just do noise reduction, and that's it. Basically just normalize the audio to 0. But this time, because I'm doing a mic review or something, I'm not going to really do audio editing on this particular file. So right now I'm recording in multi-channel mode, and it's recording a 48 kilohertz 24-bit. Let's put the volume up. And we're getting a really healthy signal. So I'm going to talk about 3 things. And first off, it's not really friends with the wind noises. There was something on the capsule over there, and that basically means when it comes to wind noises and picking up wind, if you're going to go outside and record nature sounds and stuff like that for background, it's not going to be good, because it's really sensitive to that. So just like what do you call it, a condenser microphone is kind of the same. So if I just wave it around, you can hear that it's not really good. So this windshield comes with the Zoom H5, and I'm gonna put that on because we don't want to blow into it, and it's gonna be really annoying and stuff. And it'll also get rid of the plosives and stuff like that. So that's good stuff. So first off, let's talk about the three things. One is to record speakers, and the other one is for voiceover, and the third one is natural sounds. Now and also there's proximity effect. Now it does have a little bit of a proximity effect, so if I just get really close, now I can't hear any increase in bass on the line audio, not the line, the headphone jack on the Zoom H5. But when I looked back at this recording when I was doing the last video, it was actually a bit different. It was like a really nice recording. It has really nice bass and everything, and I use the Chord Mojo for monitoring and stuff with the PC, so that's top of the line. So if you're recording audio with the Zoom H5, just be aware that whatever it sounds like through the headphone jack on the Zoom H5 is not how it sounds like in the actual recording. So that's just one thing to know. So the proximity effect is a little I think it's really nice that they've dealt with this, so it kind of works out really well. So to record speakers, that's the first one, then natural sounds and voiceover. Now to record speakers, now since this is a XY capsule, it's really hard to get it set up to record speakers. If you have 1 and 2, you're gonna have to put this where you are, because it's just like a 90-degree angle. The gain is at 6.5, by the way, in case you're wondering. And I do recommend you stay below gain 6, because then it gets noisy. So I'm just gonna put it up to a gain 7. So the thing is, with recording speakers, you want to align each of the capsule pointing directly at the speaker, and you can't really do that without having to move the speakers or something. So you might want to do that, move the speakers, and don't increase the gain too much, otherwise it's going to introduce noise from the preamps. And so what that also means is when you're recording speakers and all that, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I heard it on a thread and I was reading on the forums and stuff, and I just came across it. So when it comes to recording speakers, either move the speakers or increase the volume. You don't want to increase the gain on this thing, because you're going to introduce a lot of hiss, and that's not what the speakers are going to sound like. So that's a good thing there. Now for voiceover, now I also heard in one of the comment section when I was watching a YouTube video, for voiceover, the voice is a mono source, so it's only one. Now these are 2 capsules. Now you can record in stereo, but the thing is, it's not going to sound as good as a mono proper microphone. And I'm not saying that it's going to sound bad, it's going to sound really good still. Like you're hearing me right now, it sounds really good. And you want to get up really close to the microphone, the capsule because if you increase the noise, and this is a really I think they call it hydrophonic sounding micro capsule microphone, that means it's meant for recording stereo sounds. So if I just increase the gain and move this further away from my mouth, it's gonna get really roomy. So yeah, so now you can hear me in 3D sound, I guess you can say, and it gets really roomy even though I'm just holding it with my hand over here, and that's not really all that far away from my mouth, so it still gets really roomy, mainly because it's meant to be recording, it records in 3D. So here's the thing with voiceovers. Now if you look at the capsules, you have a left and the right channel. What you can do is speak only on the one of the channels, so turn it to either side, speak into it really close, and make sure you get a healthy signal of the gain and stuff. Don't go over 6. It seems to be working really well. So basically I can talk like this, and what you can do in post-processing is get rid of the other channel that you're not speaking into, and in that way it can act as a bit like a condenser microphone that you can use, like an XLR microphone that I have over there, and I was using before. So when I was recording behind the camera, that's what I was using, and it sounds much like that. Now obviously when you're monitoring, it's going to be on one side, not the other, and that can be a bit annoying, but that's okay, because when you do get rid of the other channel, make this into a mono recording, don't keep the other channel, get rid of that one, get only the one that's louder. So this channel that you're speaking into right now is louder, make it mono, and then you should have a really good audio. And this is what that sounds like. I've just made it into mono, and yeah, so that's good. Now for recording natural sounds, if you're going to be going outside, I didn't really go outside. This is kind of what it's meant for, I guess, but you can do anything with it. These are really great capsules. I love it. I love the sound quality. For recording natural sounds, don't go over gain 6. And the problem is, you want to get the signal louder because everything is really quiet or something. So it kind of makes sense to make the signal louder, but the thing is, it's going to introduce a lot of preamp noise, and in the Zoom H5 that's not a good preamp noise. They are really noisy. When you go above gain 6, from gain 6 to 10, it gets really noisy. So stay under gain 6. And the funny thing is, if you're even going to normalize the audio, it's still going to be noisy. Like, it's the same noise, it's just much quieter. The whole signal is just quieter. So right now you can probably hear the noise. What I'll do is reduce the gain down to 6 and move closer into the microphone. Now there's much less background noise, but the thing is, when you're recording natural sounds and sources, get closer to the source and decrease the gain. That would be much better. You get cleaner signal. And also, speaking of cleaner signal and pressure level, this mic capsule can handle up to minus 120 decibels of sound pressure level. So that means when it comes to really loud noises, it shouldn't distort, and you would get a really nice sound. And I have kind of realized that when I'm messing around with the game, because when you go into really high again, it's a lot more sensitive to being really loud, and when you're using low gain, it's really sensitive to being really quiet. So that is really good, because you can have a lot of headroom and a lot of dynamic range left, record concerts and all that, and that's going to sound really good because it's not going to distort off the really loud volumes and stuff. So that's good. But when it comes to recording natural sounds, you're best off getting closer to the source. So if it's a waterfall, and get close to it and reduce the gain and get rid of the preamp noise. And obviously it's not going to sound as 3D-ish, but I'm just saying that the preamp noise is gonna get in the way, but it's fine because it sounds really good. I mean, I haven't really gone out and recorded anything because I'm not an outside guy, but yeah, it's really good for recording those kind of sounds. It is really 3D-ish, so if I move to the left or to the right, it does make a lot of 3D-ish sounds. So the reason I'm talking really close to it is because then you can get a much more voice-over kind of signal going to the microphone and then to the recording. And I'm just doing a voiceover, so I mean vocals, so that's what this is meant for. But if I was outside recording a source or a natural car sounds and stuff like that, then I would have headphones and I would just point out something and I'll just record that. Another thing to keep in mind is the shock mounts don't really work really well, and you can probably hear all these handling noises, even the table and stuff. I mean, you can just whack it and stuff is not really good. That's also just one thing to keep in mind. So when you're using this recorder, make sure you have a good grip on this. But other than that, they actually sound really good. I can move a bit further away now, increase the gain because I can't be talking really close to it. So getting a healthy signal at gain 8.5, but it's really noisy. So I'll leave it here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again in another video.